Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome. We'll just give it a little bit to get everyone in the room, the virtual Zoom room, as it were. We're excited to have you here with us today to launch Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month, ACCM 2022. So just hoping more folks, a lot of people registered, so we're just waiting for everyone to get in the room. And we will go ahead and get started in just a minute or two. This is being recorded, I believe. Have we hit the record? Yes. And so that those who also are unable to attend today are able to view this on our website and on our YouTube channel. So we'll just give it a minute or two more before we get started. And welcome to How to Engage in Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month. Thank you. All right, again, we're just going to give it another minute as we wait for more people to show up today. It's Friday. They're probably getting their lunch, ready to sit down and learn how to engage in Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month. And we welcome you today. We're really excited to get started with Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month for April of 2022. This is our 4th annual Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month. It started in 2019. We're going to teach you all about where it comes from, what it's about, how you can engage, and we've done everything we can possible to make it as easy for you to engage. So we're excited that you're here today, and it's just going to be a great month of actions, engagement, and a time to celebrate and recognize all of you and what you do and what you bring to the state of California. All right, well, I think we'll go ahead and get started again, since this is being recorded for those who are joining us that way. We appreciate you also tuning in. And if you are in the room right now, yes, please enter yourself in the chat. If you could include your pronouns and land acknowledgement, we'd appreciate it. And I'll start off by saying, my name is Julia Baker. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I'm coming today from the unceded land of the Nevada City Rancheria Nisenan, or Nevada City, California, about an hour outside of Sacramento. And today you are here for How to Engage in Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month. I am the Executive Director of Californians for the Arts and California Arts Advocates. Joining me today are an amazing team who've put together an incredible event for all of the state to enjoy and engage in. I'll introduce them. Eduardo Robles, who is our Manager of Communications and Field Engagement. Tracy Hudak, who is the Southern California Organizational Advancement Manager and Programs Manager. Kara Q. Smith, who is our Northern California Programs and Organizational Advancement Manager, and Zuriel Ortiz, who's coming to us through Claremont Graduate University and supporting our comms team. So welcome to our fabulous team. It's so exciting for those of you who've been with me doing this for several years. It's really exciting to have a full-time team here at Californians for the Arts, and your support of our organization makes that possible. So thank you so much. All right, we're going to go to the next slide. So here's a quick peek at the agenda, what we're going to try and accomplish in about an hour. If you can stay a little bit longer, we'll be happy to answer your questions as well. So of course, this is part of the welcome. Here's the agenda. We're going to talk a little bit about who we are, what is Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month, or for short, since it's a mouthful, ACCM, what our theme is this year, which is called the Arts Work. We have tools and toolkits and resources for you to engage and amplify Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month. We've got a really exciting new thing that we offered this year called the Arts Work Showcase and Awards, the Arts Work Webinar Series, Advocacy Week, and then some closing remarks and Q&A. So next slide, please. We'll go ahead and just get ourselves started here. So who are we? I think a lot of you who are already on the call today probably know, but we have two organizations. California Arts Advocates is a C4 organization, which means that we have a lobbyist And we work directly to influence legislation and resources and investments from the state level in particular to support the arts, culture, and creative industries and workforce. At the same time, we also operate as C3, a nonprofit advocacy service organization where we build public awareness and tools for you to become informed and effective in your civic engagement efforts, which is exactly what Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month is. And just a couple of highlights, again, it's every April, and it's every Friday in April, you have a chance to attend free webinars, and Arts Advocacy Week is April 25 through 29. Next slide. This presentation will also be available for you to access and download. So what is Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month? In 2019, the Senate delivered a concurrent resolution, which means the Assembly also passed it, to say that every April in California is Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month, which is a moment to recognize and celebrate the significant impact the arts have in California. We do activations throughout the state, including city and county proclamations, op-eds, special events, performances, all sorts of great things, which we're going to go over today. And really our goal is to not just celebrate, but elevate the public awareness's impression of the value of the arts and the collective impact the arts bring to our communities and state. And again, this is how you can engage with us. And also just wanted to mention that last year, we also had a resolution continuing the declaration of April, but also recognizing artists as second responders. And these are all our logos. We have the black and white version, a color version, and then we also have something called I Support the Arts and Arts Workers, which you'll see at the top left of the screen, and that is also available for download. So you can include all of these on your own websites during the month of April, in your signatures, on your social media. You can even have these fancy backgrounds that we have if you want to download those as well. They'll be available soon on our website. Kara just made them about 5 minutes before we came in. We're so excited. So next slide, please. So this year, every year we have a theme. So this year, the theme is the arts work. This was actually one of our board members, Tomas Benitez from Los Angeles, who came up with this concept. And we're so grateful to him and all of our board members. We have 25 board members across the state for all of their support and engagement in all of this. And the arts work theme is the arts work to heal, to build community, to advance justice, to empower youth, and create jobs. So throughout the month of April, we will build upon those pillars. And every week you'll have a webinar that you can enjoy and learn about who's activating around these issue areas in the state of California, who are the leading thought leaders, practitioners, as well as where are we in terms of policy development around these specific issues. We'll have social media that you can also share. There's all sorts of ways that you can engage with these themes. And we also invite you to upload your own images around these themes, which we'll talk about. And then, of course, Advocacy Week, which we'll also go into great detail around. So lots of ways for you to engage. And the next slide. Next slide is something, again, that you can download in our Activate ACCM 2022 toolkit. And this is a graphic that just kind of gives the overall theme. That is our state capitol building behind. And it's really just to give you a sense of the overall theme for the month. Next slide. Terrific. Well, I'm pleased now to hand this over to Eduardo Robles, our Manager of Communications and Field Engagement, who's been working hard on building out our Activate ACCM 2022 toolkit, as well as all the wonderful information you can find on our website. Go for it.
Thank you, Julie. Yes, so I'm going to introduce different communication tools and resources that we have to support Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month and campaign the arts work themes. So here I have a screenshot of our website, which has the various toolkits, social media, legislative summaries, proclamation guide, and guides to advocacy. So all of these have, they're like educational tools to advance a lot of the legislation that we're pushing for. So just gonna go to the next slide, but I just wanted to point out that that they're easily accessible on our website and downloadable, and we have a lot of resources to communicate awareness and inspire action to the issues we're raising. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So when we're thinking about when we were thinking about the Activate toolkit, we're asking ourselves, how do we communicate the value of the arts across all economic sectors? The 5 themes go into those sectors, and how do we make visible the impact of the arts to inspire more or have more public investments and essentialize the arts as economic and social equity driver? We want to inspire dialogue, public engagement throughout the month in honoring and observing arts, culture, and creativity. So these are some of the ways that you can engage the public. Organize an event. We did make a postcard, a downloadable postcard, print them out, engage in the themes. There's a lot of research that we did in the individual themes, and we're going to have summaries. So just engage a lot of the topics and inspire dialogue. It could be a community event, postcard party. In the toolkits, you can post in social media, drive the conversation, have hashtags. We have an op-ed that our board member Tomas Benitez wrote, but also an op-ed template that already has information on there that you can just cut and paste and just adjust it to your organization. Send our press release. All of this is downloadable in the website, easy to get, easy to download, and also on this deck. So trying to make it really easy for you guys to just download and just promote and drive the discussion and celebrate arts, culture, and creativity. So we have some social media and such. 1 second. And here in this deck, you can get all of that too. But our Activate toolkit is on the website, so go ahead and visit it and just go through it. And it has some wonderful information to really make the case for the arts. 1 second. All right. So as Julie mentioned, we have our logo is downloadable. Use the different ones. We're going to make some stickers. We're gonna really make circulate the logo and really generalize in the public imagination, that arts, culture, and creativity does have a month like Heritage Months, and we do need to uplift it because it is very, very important in creating impact and inspiring transformation. So promote them and make them and normalize them, right? Let's normalize arts, culture, and creativity. So download the logo. You can post a blog post. Again, the postcard parties, and we have a proclamation guide too, and it's kind of a step-by-step process on how to get arts, culture, and creativity, a proclamation for ACC Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month in your local government. So how do we engage government officials, to use public funds and, just communicate that the arts, are very valuable to their constituents, which is us, the public. 1 second. Okay, so here's like a little sample of a proclamation that actually got enacted in Dublin City very recently, in March 19. And here's like a little snapshot of our proclamation toolkit that has this step-by-step process. And a lot of these tools, like I said, are on the website, and we'll be promoting them through e-marketing, just really just providing these resources to try to drive the conversation around the themes. And here's a sample of a social media post. It gives you instructions when to post it, and you just cut and paste. There's the captions here, you download graphic there. But as you can see here, we're honing in on creative youth development, some data facts, a statement on the field, on the theme. Similarly, the arts work to build community. Again, we're making the statement, we're generalizing, the impact and building the case through data, and the hashtags, the hashtags. We really want to go viral on this and get, people engaged in arts, culture, and creativity. And I will pass it over to my colleague, Kara.
Thank you, Eddie. One of the things we were really excited to do this year was to think about ways we could help visualize and show all the great work that we know is happening around the state as part of Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month, and especially embodied within the 5 themes of the month, which happened to nicely coincide with the roughly 5 calendar weeks that line up in April. With our webinars, which I'll go into in a minute. But so the Artswork Showcase in prizes is an opportunity to upload projects that fall within these 5 theme areas. If you're an artist or an arts organization or creative business, they're existing projects. They can be existing. You don't have to make anything new, but it's meant to really showcase the work that's happening, that we already know is happening in communities across California. And so essentially what you do is you upload a digital file of some kind. It can be audio or video. It can also be something in writing. It could be a poem, a PDF of a poem, or a piece of writing. It can be a piece of music or a recording of a song. If you're an organization, you can upload, perhaps it's an exhibition that you've curated or held at your institution that uplifts one of the themes of advanced justice or build community, or perhaps it's a video about a program that you've run with youth. So the opportunity, the type of media is pretty broad. We really want to showcase all types of forms of art. And once the submissions are currently open until March 31st, and then starting April 1st, we'll start to host all of the submissions on our website. And we'll start doing weekly drawings for cash prizes. So we want to be able to help support the great work that's happening by offering some fun cash prizes. Every week we'll be drawing 2 prizes for $250 each. So that's starting on April 1st, and then every Friday through April will be a drawing. There's also an opportunity for folks who submit if you're featured on our social media or promotions as part of the showcase project. You'll also have an opportunity to receive $100 for being featured in our promotions. And in that vein, wanted to just highlight 2 examples of submissions here. And so when you submit, you kind of select the theme that you're submitting for. And so you'll see here that this image from Los Angeles is submitted for the theme of advanced social justice and racial equity. And it's been submitted by Arts Bridging the Gap. And then there's a description talking about the work. So you have an opportunity to offer us some context about your work. You also have an opportunity to provide us links to your website and social media. We can help promote the work that you do as well. So we have a form that makes it all very easy. And then, like I said, it's not just images, it can be other types of media as well. So you can also upload a video like Halima did from Alameda County with a theme to heal, or artists are second responders. It's a really short film that they kind of edited about a dance projects that they've been involved in around healing. So if you have any questions about this, you can feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is on our website, the website that is, I think, put in the chat, or you can enter them into the Q&A here. But we've already received some great submissions, and so we encourage you to submit by March 31st, and to also help us promote this within your own community, so that artists and arts organizations in your region know that this is an opportunity for them to submit the work that they've done or something that they've worked on, a project. Yes, thank you, Julie. Just wanted to reemphasize that this is about existing work. No need to make anything new. Thank you so much. Eddie, next slide. Great. And then, as has been mentioned, we do have a webinar series. So just like the drawings for cash prizes on every Friday, we also have a webinar every Friday, typically during lunch, but not exclusively during that hour. So save the dates. Every webinar following today's corresponds with one of those weekly themes. So the first one I'll talk about in just a moment, but just noting that all webinars are free to attend, and they're each going to take a deeper dive into that theme and explore how the creative sector is creating impact and what opportunities or challenges exist in the landscape right now, but really looking towards where there are advocacy opportunities and really and thought leaders thinking about things, thinking about each of these topics, and where practitioners are activating these topics. So the first, all of the logistics, all of the webinars are available you can register for each of them on our website. And then next slide, please. The first webinar is next week, next Friday, and it's around empowering and engaging youth. And this webinar is going to start at 3:30 p.m. as we're very excited to feature a panel of adult thought leaders as well as youth thought leaders in this panel. So please, yes, sign up to join this webinar. It's going to be a really great discussion about exploring the connections between arts education, creative youth development, workforce development, and college readiness. And the young adults will share insights from their in-school and out-of-school arts learning experiences. Their reflections will serve as context for discussion about current advocacy opportunities by a panel of experienced advocates, funders, and policy leaders, with our CFTA board member, Luke Smith, as well as Narit Smith from Music Forward, Allison Frenzel from the California Department of Education, and Abe Flores from Create California. So we're super excited to launch in this way. And you can find more information about this panel as well as our following webinars on our website. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Tracy. Oh, you're on mute, Tracy.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Hi, everybody. Of course, April is important in terms of being a celebration of the arts, but it's also really strategic, right? Because we're in the process of negotiating the budget for 2022-23. The governor issues his version of the budget in January. We're advocates on issues across the state are working on being included in his May revision and or working with legislators to be included in the final budget in June. So Arts Advocacy Month is, again, a fabulous celebration, but it's also an activation, right? And part of this strategy. And so Arts Advocacy Week, which we concentrate at the end of the month, April 25th to 29th this year, but really these actions can happen throughout the month, are where we, California for the Arts and California Arts Advocates, provide all the resources and tools you need to take advocacy action, whether it's legislative visits or letter writing, op-eds, phone calls to your legislator, et cetera. So Advocacy Week is the culmination of Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month. And if that next slide, please. And so the goals of Advocacy Week are to empower advocates. We provide, I said, all the tools and resources, but also to educate and build relationships with legislators, informing of the issues and giving them opportunities to align with our priorities. And then also to activate the state, to make sure folks that legislators across the state are hearing from arts supporters in their districts, especially those that serve on key committees that affect our sector and budget lines that affect our sector. Next slide, please. Wanted to point to in the sign up today, the bit.ly that's on the now in the left-hand part of the screen, you can serve as a delegate, and I'll explain how that's going to work here. Like we said, we provide all of the tools and communications and the guide to successful advocacy, legislative requests, et cetera. Captains, experienced advocates across the state help schedule and organize these legislative visits. And then CFTA, we do the recruitment and coordinate delegates. Those of you who wish to be part of these visits, you can sign up with that bit.ly to the left there, and we will organize you by district and connect you with captains, and so you can be part of Advocacy Week. And then the captains then will organize you with the talking points and with the follow-ups and thank yous to legislators. And you get this opportunity to share your passion and your ideas, and again, build relationships. The Guide to Successful Advocacy provides really great guidelines for taking these actions, but also for the other portions, right? The letter writing and the op-eds and the phone calls. So I really recommend that you download it. It's available on our website as well. Next slide, please. And then just some excerpts to be thinking about as you're thinking about what actions you can take, some tips for successful advocacy included in the guide that we like to share. One, of course, do your homework, right? Learn about your legislator, their interests, their biography, personal connections really go a long way. And familiarize yourself with a legislative request document that's on our website. It's in the toolkit section. And the legislative meetings, what we tend to do is, and for yourselves too, if you're going to do these on your own, concentrate on 2 to 3 topics that really specific to your district and will be meaningful to your legislator. And we also encourage everyone to make the value of the arts really visible in that conversation, sharing uplifting but brief examples of positive artistic impacts or projects or programs that are in your district or their jurisdiction. And then also be sure to combine facts with personal stories for greater impact in creating that connectivity. And obviously establish common ground, positive notes, thanking legislators for support, and avoiding partisanship and argument. This is not to convince folks to change who they are, but really to create connection and just to emphasize the importance of what we're trying to accomplish on behalf of our state with the arts and artists and creative workers and our cultural organizations. And we will provide information and ideas for this, but we also give your legislator something to do, a specific action. It could be supporting a particular budget ask. It could be following up on a particular question that they might have and building that relationship there. But it's important to come to them with solutions and ideas, and we hope to provide those resources for you. Next slide, please. And I'm going to turn it over to Julie so she can summarize what is on the table and what we're hoping to get included in the budget this year. Thanks.
Thank you, Tracy and Eduardo and Kara and Zuriel for all the hard work you've done to get this pulled together. And it is a lot to do a whole month. Most states do a day, maybe a week to celebrate. But since California is the 5th largest economy in the world, with representing 25% of the United States creative industries, we decided we needed a month. So we're excited that you're engaging with us. So of course, a lot of people want to know, what are we asking for this year? And so I can give you some specifics. Some are still to come, but I'll give you some previews. I assure you, you will have all of this information in plenty of time to be prepared for Advocacy Week, April 25 through 29. Whether or not you do a legislative virtual visit, which was the image you saw in the prior screen on your left from Alameda County last year, whether you engage through sending letters, doing our action alerts, maybe you want to do the postcard party that Tracy mentioned, which you can download also from our website. There's all sorts of ways that you can engage. Clearly, we hope that you'll actually sign up to be a delegate and meet with your legislator or the staff person in your legislative office. And I just want to also say that a lot of times you'll meet with staff, and they are very important to the process. They inform the legislator, and they are often done by issue area. And so the person you're meeting with will have the arts as part of their portfolio. So don't be disappointed if you don't get to meet with a legislator. But I also want to say that there is nothing more empowering, hopefully for you, but also effective, is to actually show up in these types of meetings. When we prioritize it, it shows our legislators, our elected officials, that this is important to their district. Local politics is the best way that you can engage. So we will set you up with your elected official. And it is really important that you show up and say, this is a priority. So here's the priorities that we will be asking you to support this year. As Tracy mentioned, the governor releases a budget every year in January. This is the California budget process. In his budget this year, in January, he introduced $30 million for the Cultural Districts Program. This is a program that the legislature passed in 2016. It went to the California Arts Council, but it has been unfunded as a mandate by the legislature. This is the first time we hope to see real dollars go to this program. That's $30 million over 3 years. It is not just for the existing 14 pilot districts, but to expand the program with an emphasis on equity and also on really reflecting the various cultures that exist in the state of California. And so this is an exciting new development that we are definitely supporting and ask for you to support as well. There's a small amount of money in the budget for the California Poet Laureate and Youth Poet Laureate program. We obviously think in a $286 billion budget that the California the state has, $173,000 for the Youth Poet Laureate and California Poet Laureate program should be a no-brainer. In addition, this year, the governor introduced $50 million for a new program at Parks and Rec. And this is art installations, performances, ways for communities to engage both at your state and local parks in culturally and enrichment programs brought to you by local artists and arts organizations. And we think this is a terrific way for artists and arts organizations to access dollars in other departments in agencies in the state, as well as to be integral to how people experience the parks. And I think this is an exciting program. We've met with the person in Parks and Rec who introduced this budget ask to the governor, and we really think that this has wonderful opportunities for everyone to engage in. So again, you'll be asked to support these items. If arts education is your passion and you want to see support for that and art after schools programs, the governor has introduced what has now, I think, been changed from a little over $900 million to around $700 million for after school summer and arts enrichment programs, K through 6. And after schools and summer programs. Clearly, we know how critical those are. That means that arts organizations could actually access those funds through your local school district. And we absolutely want to see this continued enrichment for our youth happening. And so we support that as well. Next slide. So those are the things that the governor has already introduced that is being heard right now in budget subcommittees, and we are absolutely supporting. Now, I also want to introduce what's happening that the legislature in turn is introducing. Now, that's when advocates in particular are addressing directly to the legislature, to their elected official, help us specifically on certain issues. So Senator Laird has introduced Senate Bill 963, which has been endorsed or sponsored by the California Association of Museums. And this is $125 million in total to the California Cultural Heritage Endowment, which is part of the Natural Resources Agency. And this is to include $50 million for the museum's grant program, which we also got in the 21-22 budget. This is now for this year, 22-23, and $75 million for other grants programs in the endowment, as well as 2 full-time positions. Again, we as California arts advocates and Californians for the Arts represent the entire ecosystem and support all of the ecosystem of how the arts can be stable and stabilized and sustained. And we know how critical investments are for that to happen. So we also support this. So if you are someone who works at a museum, for example, or attends museums and loves them, this is something that you could bring up in your legislative visit. The other items that are coming soon, which means that we are just waiting for the legislature to introduce these. One is something that we were really excited to work on last year as primary sponsors of Senate Bill 628, the California Creative Workforce Act, which the governor signed on October 9th. I'll never forget that date because this was a very exciting moment as an advocate. However, that bill, although it is really a game changer in that it states Creative workforce development is a state priority. And I just want to point out that's the only state that has that written in language in law. It is also what we say upon appropriation. In other words, there has to be a budget attached to it. And so last year there was not. So this year, Senator Allen will be introducing a budget ask, he was the author, Ben Allen from Santa Monica, for $50 million for Senate Bill 628. We are really excited, obviously, as the sponsors of this, to be promoting and trying to persuade the legislature and the governor to include this in the final budget, which happens by June 15th and early July for the governor to sign. So stay tuned for more information and specifics on that and how you can advocate for that. In addition, there is funding that will be coming from Senator Portantino's office with what was last year's 805, SB 805 coalition has now changed into something else, which is now the Equitable Payroll Fund. That's Senate Bill 1116. And more information about that specific budget ask will be coming out soon, but certainly we'll have it in time for Advocacy Week. So you'll have an opportunity to talk about that. And that is really for small budget nonprofit arts organizations under $2 million to have support for your payroll costs in specifically as we are all addressing the impact of how AB5 is changing everyone from an independent contractor into an employee. And obviously this is really impactful specifically to performing arts when you have large ensembles, whether that's a symphony, a theater, a dance performance, and so on. So that will be something I'm sure those of you who have experienced that, the impact of that will want to also advocate for. And then finally, something that we're still looking for a legislator to support and introduce, and if they don't, we'll still probably do it ourselves and hope that the governor will pick it up, is that the baseline funding for the Arts Council remains, the California Arts Council remains at $26 million. It has stayed at that level for 3 years. It has not changed. There have been one-time fundings. Last year, they got $100 million in additional funds, $60 million for the California Creative Corps pilot program and $40 million for creative youth development, but the baseline has remained the same. And if we go to the next slide, it'll give you a little bit of a sense of what that looks like. So for example, how do we compare? So right now, California invests at $26 million with 40 million people. If you do the math, that's 66 cents per capita per person in the state of California is public investment in the arts. We believe it should be much higher than that based on, if you see the image on my left, which is what is the economic value and impact of that we bring to the state, and then the correlating investment is just not enough. And so we are hopeful that we will all be working together to try and see that baseline funding for the Arts Council go from 26 million to 40 million over the next 3 years, which is from 66 cents to $1, which is a total ask of $42 million. So there are a number of asks, as you can see in the last couple of slides, for the budget this year, but we, and hopefully when you have all of this information, you'll be able to decide which one you want to champion, or maybe you want to champion all of them like we do, because it really supports the entire ecosystem to be successful. And then what's in front of me now is the California ballot measure, which is the Californians for Arts and Music, Education in Public Schools. Maybe you've heard about this as well, but our organization, California Arts Advocates, has endorsed this ballot measure. We anticipate with a number of signatures they've already received that it should be on the ballot in November. And this would take no new taxes, but a portion of California's general budget would be allocated every year to arts education in K through 12 schools. That's approximately $800 million a year, with an emphasis on communities that are not receiving arts education. And we're really, obviously, we all believe how critical that is in terms of a foundation for, again, the arts and culture ecosystem to be sustainable and successful. And so we are in support of that as well. So you'll have opportunities throughout April and Arts Advocacy Week to lift your support for this ballot measure. Next slide. So there is, obviously advocacy is never just a 1 week, a 1 month, a 1 day endeavor. This is why there is an organization that is dedicated to this, but it's really never as effective as if you are engaged in it in a consistent way. So we ask for you to think about how can you become an effective and consistent arts advocate. And so one of the easiest things to do is to develop that relationship with your legislator. If you don't know who they are, we have the tools to help you look that up, even to the city and county level. If your city, I believe, is above 50,000, I think we have that now in our new website. And you can start to, some of the easiest ways is to actually literally phone them and just pick up the phone, call their office. You can say, is there someone who specializes in the arts in your office? Or what is so-and-so, fill in the blank of the elected official, doing to support the arts in our district? And you can give a little bit of information. I've been on calls with staff when they're answering the district office phones. Basically what they do is they take your information, they note what issue you care about, and I can assure you it goes into a pile. They actually monitor how many calls they get around specific issues. So if you don't think your voice matters, I'm sorry to say, I'm happy to say, you're wrong. Your voice does matter. It actually will make a difference when you do these things, and we can see how things change. Last year, we had great success in getting over $600 million invested in arts and culture in the state of California, as well as that bill passed for the California Creative Workforce Act. The numbers have just come out from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, 2019 over 2020 for the state of California. In the creative industries, we lost 100,000 jobs. This is going to be data that you will have in order for you to advocate during the month. We have a lot of data points for you to get that information as well. And that's all in our toolkits. And they're by issue areas as well as economic impact data. So this also important, we're going to have template and letters for you to activate around. If you see an action alert come from California Arts Advocates or Californians for the Arts, please take it, please do it. Same thing with Arts for LA and many of our partners, San Jose Arts Advocates and those around the state, please do them. That means that we're really asking you at that moment in time to take that action. We make it very simple. It's less than 5 minutes for you to do it. It's mostly auto-populated, but we give you an opportunity to also customize your message to your elected official. It's really important to share what you're doing and be excited about it and let them know the impact that you're making in your district and invite them to events. The legislature's closed for spring break. I think it's April 9 through 16. They're usually in district. Some of them are on vacation, but if they're in district, invite them to an event. There's no better way for people to understand the impact of what you do than for them to experience it. We can talk about it, but really they can, once they experience it, they're believers. So that's one of the things that you can do. We're excited, go ahead to the next slide, that this year we'll be launching on April 1st in San Diego with Mayor Todd Gloria. And we're hopeful right now that the Senator Tony Atkins, who's the head of the Senate, the pro tem, is is scheduled to also be with us at the press conference. And then it's just really exciting to actually be in person. All of our team will actually get to meet for the first time and launch Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month in the great city of San Diego. And then on April 7th, we'll be in Sacramento with Mayor Darrell Steinberg and launching Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month there as well, they will be announcing city proclamations for Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month, which again, we've mentioned, you can do that in your community. You can be offering a proclamation and asking your city council or your county supervisors to make that happen. And we have the toolkit and make it really easy for you. So here's other ways that you can get involved. This is all linked in this toolkit. It'll also be, I think, in the chat. I can't follow the chat as I'm talking. And then also in our follow-up email for everyone who's registered. We ask that you share this information. Again, critical mass is how advocacy works. We need a lot of people to engage, to sign up to be delegates, to engage in Arts Advocacy Week and Arts Advocacy Month, Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month. And all of those are great ways that you can get involved. And Tracy on our team is really in charge of this aspect of Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month. So thank you, Tracy, for all the hard work on this, Arts Advocacy Week. So please reach out to her if you have any questions. Next slide. this is the chance for you to ask questions. So team, are there some in the Q&A? Let's take a look. Where does CFD have any understanding where that extra 34 cents, someone did the math, thanks Joshua, come from in order to get us to that dollar? Well, basically where that, no worries, where that money comes from is the general budget. This is not a dedicated tax or anything else like that. Again, we have a $286 billion budget this year with almost over $50 billion budget surplus. So if there was ever a time for arts advocates to ask for an increase in baseline funding for the state arts agency, it's now. And because we can't guarantee what next year will look like or the years after. So it should just come out of the general budget. Again, to get us to $40 million, $1 per person in the state of California, with the impact that we make to the state in economic delivery, I don't think it is asking too much. And I can tell you that in all our lobby meetings as California arts advocates that I've been doing already this session around the dollar, there's no one who says that that's an unreasonable ask. So I really think that if we work hard together to make this happen, you follow our action alerts, you engage in Advocacy Week, we can potentially see this happen this year. So really hope that you'll and do that with us. And thanks for that question. Same question from Megan, sort of, which is regard to the 1% for arts and music in the schools, where's that money coming from? Will this reduce money already going to a different part of public school funds? If so, what? How many more signatures are needed? Great questions, Megan. Last I checked, I think there were over, I'm going to start backwards, I think 600,000 signatures or something. The campaign, ballot measure campaign folks have assured us that they're feeling quite confident that they're going to get to the million that they had hoped by May in order to make sure that they're on the ballot. So that doesn't mean that you shouldn't keep spreading the word or sign those forms, but I think we're in good shape. In terms of the money, again, this is a general budget allocation. So in other words, every year, the budget has a, just like you do your own personal home finance budget, where do you spend your money? Some of these things are fixed, we can't change, and some of them are decisions that we have to make, and where prioritizations that the state makes. Where are they going to spend their dollars? So, what we as arts advocates want them to do is prioritize investments in arts and culture and the creative industries and workforce. And so that's why the dollar for the arts, the cultural districts funding, the arts and parks funding, the art after schools funding, and the $50 million for SB 628 California Creative Workforce Act. Even when you add all of it, it's not so much money in terms of $286 billion. And yet what we bring to the state is $225 billion. So, I think that we are absolutely reasonable in our requests. We're all getting better at this. The more you engage in it, I can assure you, the more we're going to be successful. Where can we sign the petition? I think colleagues are putting that in the chat. Thank you very much. And can an individual artist apply for grants, stipends, or do you have to ally yourself with an existing arts organization? So we do not do grants. This month, we will be offering random prizes, cash prizes for the Arts Work Showcase. So if you're an artist, we encourage you to engage in that. I'm sure the team will again put the link to the Arts Work Showcase in the chat for you to look at that. In terms of grants, that is done by agencies at the state level, including the California Arts Council, the California Office of Small Business Advocate, and for example, if Parks and Recs happens, it would go to Parks and Recs as well. It depends on how they create those programs. And a lot of them, when they're in budget discussions, we don't know that level of detail yet. The California Arts Council, however, has introduced individual artist grants, one of the first to do that over the last several years. As you know, the NEA no longer does that. So we're excited the California Arts Council has done that. And in addition, Yerba Buena Center for the Arts was given the Artist Relief Grant Program from the California Arts Council, and they will be releasing that, I believe, at the end of April, and that's $1,000, and I think it's like 1,300 artists will be able to access that. So there are lots of opportunities. We are building out our page on our website where we're listing funding opportunities. Maybe someone on the team could just plop that link in there too. But if you have any more questions, Ruth, please reach out to us and we'll certainly try to point you in the right direction. I think, oh, here's one. Are there any resources for people who can help with applying for cultural arts education grants? I just taught Afro-Caribbean dance and cultural education at my local elementary school, but nonprofit, do I need to partner with a public school in order to get funding for our organization? I don't have all the answers on that. I don't think you would have, you would have to, yes, if you want to access funding that comes through California Department of Education, CDE, I believe that you will need to work with your local school district to be able to access that funding. That's, as we are on a local control school funding model in the state of California, goes from CDE at the state down to the school districts, and then you would want to work directly with your school district. If you run an arts nonprofit and you work with students or you work with youth, it's great to reach out to your county school supervisors or your city, your school supervisors, let them know about your program and see if there are any opportunities there. The other thing I wanted to mention, and this is going outside of kind of like Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month specifically, but it's always really important because overall our mission is to help you to be sustainable and to be effective in your communities, is that there's also a number of funding opportunities potentially in your local Department of Transportation through the Clean California funding that came last year in the budget. So again, if you're interested in, we say developing relationships is with your elected officials. It's also with the staff and the people who then receive the funding. So absolutely reach out, ask them what is, where there are opportunities for artists and arts organizations to engage. Oh, thanks, Dana. Dana asks, if we were to win a cash prize from the showcase, can we donate it back to help support Californians for the arts? We would never refuse your funding. It is tax deductible to make a donation to Californians for the arts. It is your nonprofit 501c3 organization. And so we would appreciate always your support. And actually, it's a great segue to the next slide, I believe, so thanks, Dana, for giving me that opportunity, which is to ask you, and Ruth, I see, Ruth, your question, which is, do you have a hotline so we can speak to someone personally from your team? We don't have a hotline, but we have a phone number. And so that's something that we'll put in the chat. I think the best way to do it actually, though, would be reach out to us via email first, and then we can schedule a time. And we're looking at potentially some open office hours in April too, where we'll be available via Zoom and you can ask us any question you want. So I'm sure the team will do that. So as we're here on this last slide, or second to last slide, I think it is, and thanks, Dana, for that question. Of course, we are also, trying to build our own sustainability to be an effective arts advocacy service organization for the entire state of California. It's a massive state to address. I have colleagues in states like Utah and other states that, Utah is basically the size of San Francisco, the entire state. So yes, for us to be addressing all of the folks that are doing amazing work and giving you the tools to be successful local advocates, state advocates, and federal advocates, we do need your help. So you can join Californians for the Arts as an individual. And if you're run an organization, we hope that you'll support California Arts Advocates. That's our C4 lobbying organization. That is where your support directly helps us to pay for a lobbyist and for the work we do to directly influence where funding goes and legislation like the California Creative Workforce Act. And I think we have maybe one more slide. Yeah, well, this is really important too. This goes to the money part. We all have to do it, which is we really appreciate our sponsors. And I'm not going to list them all. You can see them here on this page. And how much for membership? Thanks, Amanda. We start at $25 for students, and I think it goes $50 for individuals, and it goes up from there. We appreciate your support. And let's see, any other questions in there? Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody, for all of your questions. I think maybe there's one more slide that tells us tells you how you can get in touch with us. And I'm sure it's coming soon. And if there's any more questions, now is the time. We're going to go, which I think just went backwards on the slides, but that's okay. I think we want to go, maybe there it is, membership at, thanks, Eddie. Where does California rank in support for the arts? We are currently 28th in the United States in ongoing investments. When you look at last year, what we were able to accomplish together as advocates, we did get an additional $100 million into the agency, but that is for special projects. What we want to see is baseline funding increase so that their existing programs can go deeper. I don't know if anyone was on the California Arts Council's meeting last week, but it was painful to watch when they had to take money from one pot of funding and one program in order to fund traditional and folk arts, which was critically important for them to get to a level that made sense, at least to start, for the state of California, which was $1 million. But because the funding is so limited, $26 million for the entire state of California, to meet all the arts and creative industries and cultural organizations. There's over 15,000 arts organizations and humanities organizations in the state of California. How do we, there's no way you can divvy up $26 million and have it be equitable or have it be really meeting the need. So, those are some of the things that we want to continue to see increase. I think that is it for us. Team, is there anything you want to share that I missed? And again, I just want to thank Tracy, Eduardo, Kara, and Zuriel for their amazing work in putting all of this together, and all of our 25 board members across the state of California who engage in Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month and all the work that the organization does. And then, of course, all of you. We can't do this without you. So join us for Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month. We assure you it'll be fun, it'll be easy, you'll feel empowered, and you'll make a difference. All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much. If you have any other questions, you can reach out to us. We appreciate your support, and let's make this happen. We're going to do it. We're going to get more funding. We're going to get prioritization. We're going to see value and recognition for the arts workers that they so deserve. And we are excited to work with you. So thank you and have a great weekend.